Nerd Bourbon Film and TV Addiction Hotline. Is everything okay?
Hi, thank you so much for answering. It's been such a long time since I've rewatched one of my favorite movies or TV shows, but today I relapsed. Hello and welcome to Nerd Bourbon Relapse, the podcast series where we talk about the series that we love. Todd, how are you doing this week?
Terrible.
Me too. Todd, before we go any further, we need to introduce to the world our very special guest. My fiancé. I was about to say my fiancé and yours for some reason. Like my friend and yours.
Our fiancé.
My fiancé, the lovely Anastasia Hicks.
What's up with it?
Everybody clap.
It's not like this is the first time she's been on something Nerd Bourbon related.
She's been on the main show before. We did an episode together on the main show.
Yeah, I'm pretty popular. So
that was a popular episode. People liked that episode. I think it was mostly your friends that listened to it.
Probably.
But people liked it.
Yeah, I should share your videos more often. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe we would get some more fans if you did that. If you showed a little support.
Maybe I should.
Now, we're going to Star Wars Celebration in Chicago next April. And because of that, Anastasia approached me and she said, "Hey, like I've seen these movies before, but I'm not like super duper familiar with them. I would like to rewatch them. I would like to actually watch them again before we go to Celebration." And this was conveniently timed with Todd and I doing Relapse. So I said, "Hey, you know what? We're going to watch them in the order that they came out. Once we get to the original trilogy, why not have you tag along and we can record with you and get a fresh perception, kind of a fresh point of view of the series from somebody who is not as familiar with it as we are." So we just got done watching episode 4, A New Hope, the first release in 1977. How did you feel about it coming out of it, just from a fresh perspective?
I mean, I guess I get like all the cues from like socializing and stuff. Like I know a lot of like the memes, and so it was like weird to see it put into play, I guess, which is really weird. Like I knew about the stormtrooper hitting his head and shit like that, but like I don't remember actually watching that. So it was weird to like watch it and know all that shit about it, and like all like the cringy shit about it.
The cringy shit.
like the I am your father and shit like that. Like people like overplay.
Well, that's not even in this movie. But
I know. I'm just saying that like I know all that shit. So just like I don't know. I feel like I don't want to say it's ruined, but like I don't get like the oh my god like Vader is dead like kind of thing. So because I kind of already know. Oh, Leia's his sister. Like I don't get the same like. It's not a plot twist for me because I already kind of just know.
Well, it's become such a cultural like.
Well, yeah, you can't hide Star Wars from anybody. And like, first off, I want to say like when you don't watch, if you haven't watched Star Wars, like everybody makes it a point to like bring it out. They're like, oh, you never watched Star Wars, like you are like an alien if you've never seen Star Wars. It's such a weird, like people are so shocked when I've told them that I've never like actually watched Star Wars.
Well, it's like it's a huge cultural touchstone, you know. Like it's, I said even on this podcast before, I think it is the most significant pop culture anything of the past 100 years. You know, like it's like this and the Beatles. That's it. You know, so like Star Wars is huge, and if you haven't, it's like if you haven't seen Star Wars, if you're not, you can take anybody, like any grandma on the street, she probably knows who Luke Skywalker is. You know what I mean? So like. Yeah, I mean, it probably is a little bit weird to not be super familiar with it, but also be somewhat familiar with it just by osmosis. Like, you kind of know, like, base level knowledge just from existing in the world. Like, you kind of can't help but know. I made this comparison even to Todd before. Like, it's almost like how the Greeks, like, would talk about like Zeus and Hercules and stuff like that. We talk about Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker,
Yeah.
Like everybody knows about that. That it is our mythology, But how did you as a movie, like how did you feel like it held up? Like even removing yourself from all of that shit, like just did you find it to be an enjoyable movie as a newbie?
A movie from the 70s
Yes.
that has like CGI placed into it randomly.
That is something that's weird. So
yeah, it's hard to wrap your head around because you can tell like what's new and what's not, and that's really weird. Because like even with like Jabba, I was like, that's not what he looks like. Even I know that from like I've seen the slave Leia like memes and shit, obviously. So I'm just like Jabba. I'm just like that's not what he fucking looks like. Like.
Yeah.
So just, that part was really weird to wrap my head around, but as a movie, it's pretty solid.
It should be noted that we are watching I got the really nice like from 2009 or whenever it came out, the really nice like Saga Collection on Blu-ray, and the movies that are included with that are the special edition of the original trilogy. So yeah, we get the CG, the CG dewbacks and the CG Jabba scene and all that.
Yeah, I even said it when we were watching it, like it kind of takes me out of the movie.
Yeah. Well, it does. Yeah, it definitely does, because like when you get to those points, it's like, oh, like that wasn't how that was.
Well, it's weird because it's like everything else I think holds up pretty well.
Yeah.
For a movie from like the 70s.
Do you want to know something else? I want to point out something about Star Wars fans. Is like it's like their own language. Like
What
they're
do you mean by
talking, they talk about species by like name. Like when you're like, oh, Jawas and like fucking like sand people and shit like that. Like I'm just like, what? or like watching it, I was super fucking confused over like, I don't know, some lingo that they were saying, like places and like I'm not really sure about like what the rebellion is versus like all the other fucking shit. Like, oh, what's like, I know that the Empire is like the bad people basically, and the rebellion are the ones who are like trying to go against the Empire, I think. So it's just weird. Like you got like people who love Star Wars and people who like Star Wars and people who've watched Star Wars can talk about it like it's real life. And when like it's a weird, it's like a cult. It's so weird.
What's funny, like I could have started you off with the prequels. Like I could have started with episode 1, Phantom Menace, and given you all the context in the world. But what's kind of interesting about Star Wars, like there is no other franchise that released their first movie and called it episode 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they are dumping you quite literally into the middle.
Yeah, it's job security.
Well, it's not even just job security. Like they're dumping you right into the middle of this conflict and this story, and that's kind of what I liked about it. Like I think that's what captured so many people's imaginations back in the 70s. Is like there is no explanation for all this stuff. You're just getting lost in this world. You're just dumped right into it with no map or compass, and you're just having to like figure yourself out and figure out this world.
I think that's actually another reason why I've been so turned off from the franchise is because like depending on who you talk to, they tell you to watch it in like a different order. Like, oh, watch it like in the order that it came out, or watch it in the order that it's intended, or like people have different, like there's like 6 different ways that you can like watch Star Wars. And I'm like, I don't know is the right way.
Well, even though we're like when we're doing Relapse, we're going through it in chronological order. When I'm showing you these movies, and I'm showing anybody new these movies, I do tend to go with the order in which they were released theatrically, because I think that like you're going to watch these 3 movies, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, and then when you go into 1, 2, and 3, you're going to have a lot more context, and it's going to make 1, 2, and 3 a lot more significant. And I think you're going to enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah, the first Star Wars movie, and actually the only one that I watched to completion, if I didn't fall asleep in the theater, was Star Wars 3. If that's what it fucking even is. I don't know. It's like
Revenge
the one with
of the Sith.
Yeah, the one with like the lava and shit.
Yes, the one with
Okay,
the lava.
yeah.
The one with the lava and shit.
And that's all I remember was like lava. I was so lost. My uncle was a huge fan, and we went to go see him in Alaska for the summer. And he took us to the movie theater. He's like, "Oh, Star Wars is out. You guys have to come with me." And I was like, "I've never seen any of them." He's like, "It doesn't matter." And I was like, I was so fucking lost. Especially like that movie, I just feel like is not the first movie you should watch of Star Wars. And I think
No.
that's another reason why I was like turned off, is because I was like, "What the fuck is this shit?"
Well, that's now when we actually get to the point where you're going to watch episode 3, it's all going to make a lot of sense, and I think you'll actually see the kind of tragedy of episode like the prequels.
Yeah, my fucking uncle was like crying and shit. He was getting like choked up, and I was like,
Yeah, it's like a
grown
Shakespearean
man.
tragedy. But if you don't know what's happening, like it's not
Yeah.
gonna. But Todd, how did you? I want to give you a chance to weigh in on A New Hope. How did you feel like this held up pretty well?
Oh, everything except for like the special edition aspect of it. Yeah,
Right.
like everything else is still a fantastic movie. It's just the moment you see some stupid CG, I'm like,
How do you feel about I guess so we can just have this recorded on record. So let me add a little bit of context before I ask this question. So you've probably known, babe, just from osmosis again, about the whole Han shot first thing.
Yeah.
Did you get like what was happening when you watched that? Did you get the whole Han shot first
No.
thing? So when he's sitting in the Mos Eisley Cantina with Greedo,
Oh.
and they shoot each other, and Han
Yeah.
kills Greedo. Originally, in the original cut of the movie, Greedo never got a chance to fire his blaster. He just shoots him. Han just shoots him and just kills him.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes for a better story.
Well, like, it makes Han to be more of like a ruthless kind of like
Yeah.
Han
like a
shot
badass.
first,
Right.
So in the special edition, George Lucas changed it because he didn't want kids to be like looking up to this guy who would just murder somebody in cold blood. So he had Greedo actually shoot first, and then like Han only shot him because Greedo shot at him,
Lame.
Oh.
Lame.
Yeah, it is pretty lame. I think just the idea of him, like, the dude is like basically like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. You're worth a lot to me. So like, I think the threat in itself should justify him shooting him, like Han shooting Greedo.
So now if you look back at when we went and saw Solo in theaters recently, when he has that final confrontation with Beckett, and he doesn't give Beckett a chance to shoot, remember? And
Yeah.
he goes ahead and just shoots Beckett.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
kills him. So that's kind of a callback to Han shot first.
Yep.
Yeah, Solo was really good, even though I didn't know like exactly what was going on, and I didn't like. I'm sure with people who've seen all the Star Wars movies, they could connect them. And I literally saw Solo as a solo movie, and it was pretty fucking. I wasn't trying to make a joke, but okay. But I like saw it on its own, and it was pretty. I liked it even just on its own. So
Solo.
Solo.
I know you have some feelings about Luke Skywalker.
He's a fucking pussy, dude. He's like, oh, I'm scared.
Oh, but I was going to go to Tashi Station and pick up some power converters.
He's just a little dweeb, man. He's like, I want to go to fucking, what is it, university or whatever? Is that
The
what he calls
academy.
it? The academy. I want to go to the academy. I don't want to work on the farm. Just like, your uncle dies.
Well, he doesn't know that when he says
You didn't
that.
know that at the time when you were saying this shit.
Did you? I mean, was your imagination captured at all by just like the different aliens and the?
Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Well, I was already, like really intrigued by the aliens before. I mean, I guess a good example is, you have all these fucking figures. And like you would bring him in. I'm like, ooh, who's this guy? He's cool. And like actually, that's where my love of Boba Fett came from, because he's really cool looking. And you're like, tell me the first thing about him, like a fucking asshole. I bet you don't know one thing about him, but again, I just know just by society, I know that he's like the basics. But you're like trying to catch me up.
You
Trying
know
to
that his name
embarrass
is
me.
Boba Fett.
I know his name is Boba Fett. I know that he's a fucking like bounty hunter and shit like that.
Well, it's funny because like in the original trilogy, and you'll see as we watch more, that's kind of all that there is to know about Boba Fett until later.
Well, and like another reason, I mean, I guess another thing that got me into, I mean, it's just you basically. You're the only reason. Because also when we started doing our Star Wars thing, you were like, oh, now you guys got to pick a species or whatever. And so I actually had to like research them.
Oh, you mean Drifter's Gambit?
Drifter's Gambit.
Yeah, our RPG that we play.
Sorry.
You know, just trying to give context to the listeners.
What listeners? No, I'm just
Oh, honey, I'm here. There will be some.
But anyways, you're picking when you're picking a race for Drifter's Gambit.
You were having me pick like a race, and I was just kind of like going by who looked cool or who like, and there's a lot to choose from. But on that, I've already known about Twi'lek because there's a weird fucking following on Twi'leks, like a sexual following on Twi'leks.
Twi'leks are a very sexually charged Star Wars race.
Yeah, it's so weird. So I kind of knew about certain like Star Wars races and stuff like that. So
now, what parts of Star Wars, in this movie in particular, like, did you like and dislike? Because if I just gauging from your reaction, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not trying to sound presumptuous. I'm not trying to put your walls up or anything like that. But I feel like you don't really like the wars part. You don't really like the ship combat. Like like when they were doing the trench run, you looked like you're a little checked out.
It's a mixture of like real life. Like I've been awake for so long,
well, yeah.
And like I worked for so long today, and it's a mixture of that and like, yeah, I kind of did like, I hate to say it, but it kind of is ruined for you. Like it's like all the punchlines to all the jokes before, and like. I want to know because like I said, I don't want to be the only one at that motherfucking convention who's going to be like a poser basically. And you're like fanboying everywhere. You're like, oh, there's fucking like, I wouldn't have known Greedo before today. Like, oh, that guy's dressed like, I'd be looking at every motherfucker in there like, oh, which one's Greedo? You know what I mean? So like, I want to not be lost when we go to Chicago, and like, you love it so much and you're so passionate about Star Wars, and I just want to be a part of it. I want to love it like you love it, or try to. Do
you feel like even despite the fact that like do you feel like you can separate yourself from the, I guess, like the way that it has embedded itself into our culture? Like, can you enjoy it on its own, kind of looking at or trying to look at it with fresh eyes? With my own eyes.
Yeah, I'm definitely like trying to give this my all. I really want to, I'm really excited to like watch all the movies and stuff and see what all the hype is about.
Well, cool. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I'm into it. Like, I watched this movie. Like, my dad is probably fucking quaking because my dad's a huge Star Wars fan too. And it's one of those things like, where you want to force your kid into it, and then it just like doesn't click and it doesn't happen for whatever reason.
Right.
So that's just how it was. So he's gonna be super excited that you're
watching it and like going to Star Wars Celebration and stuff.
Yeah. Well, he's gonna be probably mad. Like, what?
The fuck? I was trying to do this for like 20 years.
I've been trying to get you excited about Star Wars forever. So
how did you feel about And Todd, you can chime in on this too, because this is something we were actually talking about in the last episode of Relapse about Rogue One. The disconnect, I guess, of seeing like Vader in this, like just not able to be like that cool because it was the 70s.
And it's one like we were talking while we were watching. It's just like that's what George Lucas wanted, like that old school sort of like fencing sort of.
Yeah, we were actually talking. We were like, oh, the lightsaber duels. This was probably really cool in the 70s.
Yeah, it's like seeing, like with the original trilogy and even like the new trilogy, it's just like shit's so much cooler.
Yeah. Definitely.
What, you guys are saying the new stuff is better?
Well, just in terms of like
it's just in like the
antagonist
sword fighting.
Well, like the technical aspect of it, because if you look at the duel in A New Hope that we were just watching between Obi-Wan and Vader, it's pretty like tame. Because they can't really do a lot of like, technical wizardry to make it cooler, And now in like the newer movies, like they can do all these cool force powers and stuff because they have the technology to do it now that they didn't have back then, So,
well, in a way, I kind of I appreciated it more. Like when he does the, I don't know the fucking terms for this, but when he like does the choke.
yeah, the force choke.
The force choke. The guy, like the whole time I was like, that dude's just acting.
Yeah.
He's just acting like there's something around his neck. And I was like, okay. Like, get it, sir. So it was just so weird.
Just in mid-sentence.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
and he's like, he's like holding his breath to make it look like he's actually, it's just like, I was like, okay.
Yeah. That's fair. I like
I
that
appreciated that it was more like real. Like they actually had to like put their all into shit like that to make it seem believable.
I think that's what makes it a little bit jarring when like the CG pops in, because everything else is so like practical and real.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like I said, like I don't want to say I checked out because I didn't check out, but like, yeah, it definitely took me out a little bit when I saw like CGI. I was just like, man, like that's kind of stupid.
How did you feel about the development of the characters between like the person that Luke, Han, and Leia are at the beginning of the movie versus who they are at the end of the movie? Because
I like that Luke's becoming less of a wimp.
Yeah, because he's like you said, he's a total dork.
Yeah,
like
he
at
was
the beginning.
so annoying at the beginning. He was like, "What do you mean?"
And now, I mean, he's like the hero that took down the Death Star.
Yeah, right.
You know,
like, good job, kid.
and like Han, who's like a total mercenary, doesn't give a shit about anything but money, comes back at the end, and
yeah,
and then Leia is Leia.
I was gonna say, I like that she never played like the damsel. Like she kind of was the damsel, but even when they got her out of the room, she was like, fucking, like, I'll shoot these guys. Let's go down into the trash compactor. You know what I mean? Well, she didn't know it was a compactor, but.
No, she knew it was.
Oh, she knew it was a compactor?
She said this is the, like, jump into this garbage chute. Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't say it was a compactor, but like,
I guess she
was
didn't
just
know
like.
It was dangerous, yeah.
But she was like, come on, guys, let's go this way. And I was like, okay, girl.
Do you respect her, I guess? Do you respect her as a female, like coming into this and seeing like the portrayal of Leia? Do you look at that as like a strong female role model?
Yeah, I think so. I think that females in like sci-fi are usually there for like, I mean, she's definitely like the sex appeal. She's definitely like, she has that whole fan base. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I might be changing my tune when they make her into Slave Leia because I know how that is. But as far as like her just being a strong female like character in a series that isn't really full of female characters, it's nice that the one female character isn't just there. Like she's there for both. She's not there just for like looks. So I like that about her. She was better than Luke at the beginning. So.
Well, I'm glad.
I mean, Luke's a kid, so I should stop being so mean about Luke.
Yeah. Well, they're twins. They're the same age, so.
Oh, they're twins. Okay,
yeah.
So I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're twins.
Oh.
Well, cool. I'm glad you enjoyed. This has been interesting to like interview you about this movie. Is there, Todd? Is there anything that you wanted to add?
Well, the one thing I forgot how intimidating Tarkin was in this movie.
Oh yeah, he's a bastard.
Shit.
Tarkin's the one that you pointed out. He's like, he has good bone structure.
Oh yeah, dude. Like he's a menacing looking dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, yeah, his face is all like sunken in. Is he a bad guy? Is he the one who gets like burns and shit all over his face later? Or is that somebody else? Oh, the guy who's like all burnt up.
I'm wondering who you're thinking of.
It was in the new ones. The old, like, he's like an old dude.
Are you talking about Snoke?
I don't fucking know.
Like in the new ones where
like
Kylo
bald.
Ren is like.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
They're different guys.
God. New theory. Tarkin Snoke.
No, yeah,
he
that's
just
not.
looked like if that dude if that guy was the guy who was thrown into the lava that I remember being thrown into the lava, and he like comes back.
The guy being thrown into the lava, that's Darth Vader.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember.
You'll remember it. Once we get there, it'll all make sense. But yeah. Yeah, no, Tarkin's a cool character though. Anyway, I think that'll probably do it for us. We'll tune in next time when we watch The Empire Strikes Back. I'm looking forward to it. thank you for your time. Thank you for going on this journey in a galaxy far, far away.